Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunathira Vanachari Yamunathira Vanachari Yamunathira Vanachari Yamunathira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Praeshu Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. We're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter number 31, entitled Narada Muni Instructs the Prachetas, text number 27. Yo Narada Atma Vidyam Yo Narada Atma Vidyam Yo Narada Atma Vidyam Yo Narada Atma Vidyam Adigamya Punarmahim Adigamya Punarmahim Adigamya Punarmahim Adigamya Punarmahim Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagat Padam Aishwaram Samagat Padam.
Yo Naradatatmavidyam
Yo Naradatmavidyam
Atigamya Punarmahim
Adigamya Punarmahim
Bhuktva Vibhajya Putrebhya
Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya
Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Yo Naradatatmavidyam
Yo Naradatatmavidyam
Adigamya Punarmahim
Adigamya Punarmahim
Bhuktva Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Yo Naradatatmavidyam
Yo Naradatmavidyam
Adigamya Punarmahim
Adigamya Punarmahim
Bhuktva Vibhajya Putrebhya
Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya
Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Aishvaram Samagat Padam Yo Naradatmavidyam
Yo Naradatatmavidyam
Adigamya Punarmahim
Adigamya Punarmahim
Bhukva Vibhajya Putrebhya
Bhuktva Vibhajya Putrebhya
Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Aishvaram Samagat Padam
Ya,
Ya
one who,
One who
Naradat,
Naradat
from the Greek sage Narad,
from the great sage Narada
Atmavidyam,
Atmavidyam
spiritual knowledge,
spiritual knowledge
Adigamya,
Adigamya
after learning,
after learning
Puna,
Puna
again,
again
Mahim,
Mahim
the earth,
to earth
Bhukva,
Bhuktva
after enjoying,
after enjoying
Vibhajya,
Vibhajya
after dividing,
after dividing
Putrebhya,
Putrebhya
unto his son,
unto his son
Aishvaram,
Aishvaram
transcendental,
transcendental
Samagat,
Samagat
believe,
achieved
achieved,
Achieve
Padam,
Padam
position,
position.
translation. Although Maharaj Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. Haribol. Have a good day. There's no purport. We'll read the next verse also. Text 28. We'll just read the translation. My dear King, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his Guru, his spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is a sign of association with great devotees. A devotee takes instruction from a liberated soul and is thus overwhelmed by ecstasy from transcendental pleasure. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Naisham matistavadurukramangrim sprishatyanarto pagamam yadarta mahiyasham padrajobhishekam niskinchananam na vrinitim yavat. That's Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 5, text 32. One cannot become a perfect devotee of the Lord without having touched the lotus feet of a great devotee. One who has nothing to do with this material world is called niskinchana. The process of self-realization and the path home back to Godhead means surrendering to the bona fide spiritual master and taking the dust of his lotus feet on one's head. Thus one advances on the path of transcendental realization. Vidura had this relationship with Maitreya, and he attained the result. Om Jnana Timarandasya Bhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhayevata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srimad Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're hearing how Vidura surrendered to Maitreya and got the mercy of Maitreya. Vidura had been driven out of the palace. He was the brother of Dhritarashtra. But the son of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, was a very evil person, and he had Vidura thrown out of the palace. So Vidura was left to go out of the palace, but he saw that as mercy. He saw that this was the mercy of Krishna, because he was able to go and visit holy places. He had nowhere to go, so what to do? He went to the holy places, and he knows that in the holy places there will be some place to stay, and they will get some food. In the holy places, the temples, they distribute food, they'll distribute prasadam. And so Vidura went to visit the holy. But of course his real purpose was not just to get a place to stay and to get food. His real purpose in going to the holy place was to hear from the devotees who live there. It's more important to hear. People don't understand the real purpose of going to a holy place. They think they go to a holy place to enjoy, and some people go shopping. You know, they like to go shopping and buy so many things. But the real purpose in going to a holy place is to hear. And of course, many people will go to a holy place just to take bath. They want to take the bath in the holy river, right? You go to Mayapur, you take bath in the Ganga. You go to Vrindavan, take bath in Yamuna. So that is not the real purpose. Of course, it's good to take bath, but the real purpose is to take a bath in the nectar coming from the pure devotees who live there in the holy place. We should go to here. And Vidura, who is Vidura? He is Yamaraj. Yamaraj was cursed. He had a curse on him, but it was good for him. the curse was a blessing for him, because he was able to go and visit the holy places. How he got cursed is an interesting story. That
Mandaka Muni.
Mandaka Muni was staying in a cave, and then there were some thieves, a gang of thieves came, and they were hiding from the police, and so they hid in the same cave where Mandaka Muni was staying. And so the police came and they arrested everyone, and they took Mandaka Muni also. They all got arrested, and they all went to court, and the judge sentenced them all to die. They were to be killed. And the manner in which they killed people in those days was very brutal. They had these very sharp metal rods, and they would throw people onto the metal rod, and in this way they would be killed. So, this is how they, so Mandaka Muni, he was also put up onto this platform. They had to walk off the platform onto the metal rods and fall into the metal rods and die a painful, terrible death. So Mandaka Muni was up on top of the rods, and just then the king found out that a great mistake has been made, and a great saint, a great yogi has been arrested. And so the king immediately rushed there, and they were able to save him. And so he didn't die, the yogi didn't die, Mandaka Muni didn't die. And the king apologized, and he fell at the feet of Mandaka Muni and said, "I'm very sorry, a great mistake has been made." So Mandaka Muni wondered why this had happened to him. So he went to see Yamaraj to ask him. He said, "Why this happened to me?" And Yamaraj told him, he said, he said, "When you were a little boy, you used to take blades of grass and you would pierce insects, and you would stick the insects. So this was the karma coming on you." So Mandaka Muni said, "This is not fair." He said, "I was only a little boy. Children shouldn't be punished for their sins." Of course, they do get some kind of punishment. Sometimes you get children who are murderers, they will kill people and stuff. So of course the government have to do something. They have to lock them up or put them away. But anyway, this boy, Mandaka Muni told Yamaraj, he said, "This was not fair that you've punished me very harshly for something which I did as a little child. I didn't realize I was doing wrong." So he cursed Yamaraj. He said that you put me into that, I curse you. You should take birth in the womb of a Sudra woman. So he did. Yamaraj took birth in the womb of a Sudra. But that woman was impregnated by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva, the great saint, the Brahmana, the incarnation of the Lord, he had to come, and he was to give children to, there were two queens. They had no child. They needed a child to be the king. And so the king had died without any child. But in the previous yuga, the system was that a brother could beget child in the womb of his brother's wife. Although it's not his own wife, if he's a brother, he can come and he can give a child to the woman. So Vyasadeva was a brother from the previous king. He was like a brother because they were both born from the semen of Parashara Muni. Parashara was the father of Vyasadeva. Parashara, and the mother was Satyavati. Satyavati was a fisherman's daughter, but she was very beautiful. So it happened that she'd had a baby before her marriage, and that child was Vyasadeva. So later on she was married. Later on she was married to Vichitravirya. No, later on she was married to Maharaj Santanu. And Maharaj Santanu, they had children, and the Maharaj Santanu, he already had one son, Bhishma. But Bhishma promised that he would not be the king, because he said, I'm not going to marry, I will stay brahmachari. And so Santanu got married to Satyavati, because Satyavati's father said, I don't want my daughter to marry this king because the king already has a son. And if my daughter gets married, then her sons, they won't be able to be the king. So I don't agree to let my daughter get married. So then Bhishma heard this, and Bhishma made a vow, I will never marry. I will stay celibate my whole life. I will not produce any children. So then he agreed, all right, then my daughter can marry to this king. So Santanu married Satyavati, and they had their children. Their child was Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya. So Vichitravirya, he was the king, and so he was to get married. So Bhishma brought sisters for him to marry. He brought 3 sisters to marry Vichitravirya. There was Ambika and Ambalata. There were 3 sisters. So this one girl was Amba. She said, I'm already engaged to someone to get married. I can't marry this man. I'm already engaged. I've already been betrothed to another man. So then Bhishma said, okay, then you go back. So she went back, but when she went back, then they told her, no, you're already touched by another man. We cannot take you because you've already been touched by another man. So we don't want you in marriage. No. Anyway, the 2 girls got married, and they got married to Vichitravirya, but they had no son. Vichitravirya died early without any son. So then they said, well, Vyasa's the brother. Vyasa's the brother. So Vyasa was called. And the first wife, she was very afraid, because Vyasa, he's coming from the mountains. You know, he's a Brahmana, but he's coming from the mountains, so he's got a big beard, you know, hair all over his body, you know, it's quite frightening looking, you know. And she was a queen's daughter. She was the daughter of a king, and she's living in the palace, and she saw this. She was very afraid. So she closed her eyes. She didn't look at the man. And so Vyasa, they said, because you close your eyes at the time of conception, your child will be born blind. So that happened. Dhritarashtra was the first son, but he was born blind. So when he was born blind, then they said, this is no good. We can't have a blind king. The king has to be able to see. So they said the other girl can have a son. So they called the other girl, they called Vyasa again, give this other girl a son. So the other girl, she saw him, she was afraid, she was trembling with fear. And so the child was born who was very white color, very pale skin. So they said, it's not very good either. You know, this child is so white, it's so pale, no color. So they said, you have to produce another son. Both the queens said, no, never again. Don't want to have anything to do with that man. No, I'm not going to go through that again. So what they did, they got a maidservant. Then the maidservant, she went into the room instead of the 2 queens. And so she got the child. And she was very good. And she was blessed with a good child. and that child was Vidura. But because she's a Sudra woman, she was just a servant in the palace. She was just a servant in the palace. So Vidura didn't have quite the position of the other two men. Dhritarashtra is blind and Pandu. So Vidura was brother to Dhritarashtra and Pandu. But Dhritarashtra is blind, so Pandu became the king. And Vidura was always there to help. But Pandu died early. And Dhritarashtra had to become the king because the other children, the children of Pandu, and they were not grown up. They were still young babies. So Dhritarashtra became the king. And Vidura was there as his brother, always trying to advise him. But the advice was not appreciated. And Duryodhana kicked him out of the palace. So Vidura went to visit the holy places. He thought, this is very nice. He said, I can go and visit. I can go and hear all the spiritual knowledge. I can go and get spiritual knowledge. I can hear about the glories of the Lord from all the great devotees staying. And he did, and he went, and he went first to Uddhava, and he met Uddhava in Vrindavan. Now Uddhava was young man, Vidura was a bit older, so he didn't like that. Uddhava, he gave some knowledge, he did speak to Vidura, he told him, but he said, I cannot accept you as my student. He said, because there's another great sage nearby who is senior to me. So he said, it would be an offense on my part. If I accept you in the presence of a great sage, it will be an offense on my part. So you should go to that sage and you can learn everything from him. Now Uddhava was a very dear friend of Lord Krishna. He had been the secretary of Krishna. And Lord Krishna, before Lord Krishna departed from the world, he had given all kinds of instructions to Uddhava. Now at that time, when the Lord was instructing Uddhava, Maitreya was also there. So Maitreya heard everything also. So Uddhava said, you should go to Maitreya because he's nearby and he's senior to me. And he said, I will commit an offense if I accept you because I am junior to him. So you have to go to him and get knowledge. So Vidura, after getting some mercy from Uddhava, he went to Maitreya, and Maitreya accepted him. Actually, Vidura met Uddhava in Vrindavan, and Maitreya was up in Rishikesh, so it's not so near, but Uddhava said, no, not so far away, you can go there. You go there to Rishikesh and get the instruction. So this is what happened. So Vidura came and met with Maitreya. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Canto 4, it's all Vidura and Maitreya talking. And the Vidura is hearing everything. He had questions, he asked questions to Maitreya. And Maitreya is answering all of his inquiries. He's telling him everything about the pastimes of the Lord, what happened, and all different events which had taken place. He's like here, he'd been telling about the sons of Prachini Barishat, the Prachetas. He was telling about the meeting between Narada Muni and the Prachetas. And now he was telling about the people in the line coming from Uttanapad. Maharaj, there were two sons of Swayambhuva Manu. Manu, of course, is one of the sons of Brahma. So Manu is the father of mankind. And Manu had two sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So Maitreya was telling about Uttanapad. and he was telling about the son of Uttanapad, the famous son Dhruva Maharaj, a little boy who went and became a great saint, became great devotee. He was able to see God in 6 months. So he told about Dhruva Maharaj, and then he told about other descendants from Dhruva Maharaj, because Dhruva Maharaj also was a king, so he had family and he had children and his descendants, and it's all told about what happened, his different descendants. So he told about Uttanapad's line, and now he said, we'll tell also about the other son from Manu. Other son was Priyavrata. So Priyavrata is a very interesting person. It's told about in the 5th canto, in the next canto. Priyavrata had been a brahmachari. He'd been living in the mountains with Narada Muni. Narada Muni, of course, is brahmachari, and Priyavrata he was living there with Narada Muni. But what happened was, Priyavrata's father, Swayambhuva Manu, he wanted to retire because he was the emperor and he was ruling, so he wanted the son to take over. So the son was Priyavrata. Uttanapada, he had already finished. It was Priyavrata. So where Priyavrata had gone to the mountains, so Swayambhuva Manu came there, and he was telling his son, you should come back, I need you to come back, you have to be the king. But Narada Muni is telling him, don't go. Don't go, they'll get you married. They'll get you married, you'll get entangled in family life, will be very difficult for you. And Swayambhuva Manu is saying, no, you have to come, I have to retire, I want to go to the forest and do tapasya, I don't want to be the ruler anymore, you have to take over, you're my son. And so Narada is saying, don't go, don't go. And then Lord Brahma came, and he's senior, because Narada Muni is also the son of Brahma, one of the sons of Brahma. So Lord Brahma came and said, no, it's okay, Priyavrata should go back, let him go back. He said, he will not fall into Maya. He will be able, later in his life, he will again become perfect and can be advanced. So Priyavrata had to go back, become the king. But then and he got married, and he had 2 wives and children, and he went through all family life, and then later on he became very renounced and great personality. So that's told in the 5th canto. So this is all Vidura. He wants to hear all these things, he becomes absorbed in hearing about all these great devotees. It's very relishable for him, because you can forget about the material world, you can forget about all the stress and the anxieties which you have in material life, and just hear about the pastimes of all these great devotees. So it's important for us also. We have to hear regularly, we have to hear from these kind of books like Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam. And by hearing all of these topics, then our mind can go away. Mind will forget all the mundane thoughts of the material world. In the material life, we're always full of anxiety. We're always problems, or economic problems, and health problems, and so many different issues. Huh?
Family problems.
Family problems, yeah. So many different issues are always there, things to worry about. But when we hear about the topics of the devotees and the Lord, then we forget all of our problems. And it's good for us to hear these things. And these topics of the Lord are they're full of nectar. They're very satisfying to the ear and to the heart. when we hear these things, it helps us to become relieved from all the anxiety and problems of the material world. So it's recommended to hear. We say, Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantas Tohiya Badrani Vidunoti Suratsatam. The topics of Lord Krishna are a pious activity. Hearing the topics of Lord Krishna are in itself a pious activity. And by hearing, it will cleanse the heart of the material desires. So this is what we want to do. We want to overcome all the material desires which are there in our heart, and we just want to give our attention to hearing the topics of the Supreme Lord and His devotees. And by hearing regularly, then we will start to think more about the Lord and His devotees. We hear, when we hear nicely, then we will repeat, right? First we hear, and then we will repeat. We'll tell others what we heard. Just like Vidura is hearing from Maitreya. Now Maitreya, he had a guru also. He heard from his guru. He heard from Parashara Muni. Parashara Muni was his guru. And so Parashara Muni had taught him everything. And Vidura is hearing. And later on Vidura will go back to the palace. He will go back to the palace because what happened while Vidura was away, all the sons of Dhritarashtra were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra were killed. And Dhritarashtra was remaining at home in the palace with his wife. So Vidura will go back, and he will go back and he'll preach to Dhritarashtra. And he'll tell Dhritarashtra that you have to get out from the house. Don't stay in the house. Get out from the house. Go, because he said you're staying in the home of your enemy. You wanted to kill the Pandavas. You were killing the Pandavas. And every day you're eating the remnants of Bhima. And Bhima killed all your 100 sons. And every day you're eating his food. So this is very bad. He said, you're old also. You're old, you're in old age, you're dying. Very soon you were born blind. Now all your other organs have also practically stopped. Your hearing and your digestion and your walking and everything. So we're near to death. So we have to get ready for the end of life. And how to get ready for the end of life? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. We hear this Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Maharaj Parikshit, he had 7 days. He only had 7 days to prepare. So he knew he was going to die in 7 days. So he was very serious. Just like we have this one girl also, she got diagnosed with cancer. So she became very serious, previously she was okay, but not very serious because she had her family and children and so she was not too serious. But after she got diagnosed with cancer, it became very serious and doing a lot of chanting and eager to hear and do service. So like that, the end of life, of course, end of life means the end of the body, but the soul is not going to die. The soul is going to leave the body, going to take another body. So we have to prepare for the next life. We have to prepare for the next body. Where are we going to go from here? I was just reading the one book, one devotee, one young sannyasi, Keshav, yeah, And he was writing about the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. You know the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? Attaining the Supreme.
Supreme personality.
Huh?
About the Supreme personality.
Yeah.
About the Supreme personality.
Yeah, yeah. But the chapter is called Attaining the Supreme. It's about talking about death, and you know what determines our next life. Yam yam vapis marambavam chajiti antikalevaram. Whatever we remember at the end of life, that would determine where we go in the next life, right? If we think of our dog, at the end of life, next life may become a dog, you know. So, we have to be very careful that we should be thinking about Krishna at the end of our life, you see. The end of our life, we want to be absorbed in thought of Krishna, going back to be with Krishna, going on to be with Krishna. We give up one body, we're going to take another body. Where are we going to go? So we want to have the opportunity to try to, go back to Godhead, if we can, and if we can't go back to Godhead, at least we'll take birth in the family of devotees, so that in the next life it will be easier for us to be a devotee. If we're born in a family of devotees, then it's easier. Like Prabhupada was born in a family of devotees. So from his very childhood, he was Krishna conscious. He was worshipping deities as a child. And his whole life vegetarian. Never ever drank tea even. Right? So and Prabhupada's guru was also like that. Prabhupada's guru was also born his father was a great devotee. So when you're born in that kind of Vaishnava family, then it's so much easier to be Krishna conscious. So we have to prepare for the next life. When we get old, as the Vedas say, Pancha Sordvam Vanam Brajet. The Vedas, from the age of 50, we should retire, put aside all the material things, and prepare for the next life. And how to prepare? We should hear Srimad Bhagavatam, study the scriptures, and chant the holy name, and worship Krishna, worship the deities. This because getting old, half the life is over. 50, at least half the life is over. How long we will live? Anytime we can die. Anytime we can die. So we have to prepare for that. So how to prepare? Chanting, association with devotees, doing service for Krishna, constantly hearing, trying to remember scriptures, read the scriptures, chant the holy name, go to programs. So this is how we prepare. So Vidura came back to tell his brother Dhritarashtra that he was very old. He was still living at home. Huh?
He was lamenting. He was lamenting.
Yeah, it was bitter. My sons all died, But Vidura came and preached to him, and he got him to leave the house. And without telling anybody. You don't tell anyone when you're going to leave. If you tell people, they'll say, don't go. Oh no, don't go. They won't let you go. If you ask them, they'll never let you go. If you say to your family, I want to leave home, I want to go. Oh no, don't go. Oh no. They'll never agree. You have to be determined. You have to be determined. So this Vidura, he was determined, and he went out and he got association. He met Maitreya, and Maitreya told him everything he learned, everything he'd heard from Krishna, and So in this way Vidura was very, very successful in his journey. How to get devotion? Where do we get devotion? We have to get it from a devotee. That's the point. You don't get devotion just by doing austerity or just by doing studying the books or just by going to holy places and just by bathing in the rivers and like that. But you have to get devotion from a devotee, from someone who has devotion. So Vidura met Maitreya, and because Maitreya had devotion, Vidura could get devotion. You have to get it from the devotee. Prabhupada in the purport is talking, he said, you get the dust from the feet of the devotee. That it's not just, it means service, by doing service for the devotee. When we serve, sometimes Prabhupada would say, nobody should touch my feet. You know, we would all want to touch Prabhupada's feet, but Prabhupada would sometimes say, no one should touch my feet.
Oh, why?
Because that's not the real process. The real thing is to do service for the devotee, for the master. Not just to come and touch his feet and then go and do nonsense. You know, if you come and touch it, oh, I got the dust from the feet, now I'm a great devotee, and then you do all nonsense. You don't. But the real thing is to do service for the devotee. Then you get the blessings of the devotee. Then he can bless us with devotion. But if everybody comes and touches the feet, what they're doing really is they're giving their karma to that devotee.
So Prabhupada was touching the feet of the one who did touching his feet, and he said that like this he was giving back the sin activities to the person.
You put the hand on the head, give back the sin.
If you put the hand on them, you give back?
Yeah.
It seems that he was patting them, but it was just to give them back their sins.
Okay.
Because-
Why did he give back the sins?
Because he
You
would
want
have
to have the
agreed to
sins
take
of
the
other
sins
people?
if the person is a devotee and
Yes.
agree to endeavor to
Yes.
go on in spiritual life, but not whoever.
Okay. Okay.
During initiation, also the spiritual master is taking a risk to take the karma of the devotees.
Yes. Yes, at the time of initiation, the spiritual master accepts the responsibility to deliver the disciple. So he takes it, but when you come for initiation, we're expected to have already given up sinful activities, right? When we come for initiation, we have to prepare before initiation. We wait a period of like 6 months or a year before we get initiation. And during that year, you have to also strictly follow the principles, and you chant every day and like that. So in this way you get rid of all your sins. So when you come for initiation, you don't have sins. In that way, then you don't have to burden the spiritual master.
You are on the process. We are on in the process of spiritual life. It's
Yes.
like someone arriving from nowhere and touching his feet and
Right.
and disappearing after.
And then disappearing after that, yeah. Yeah. So we have to think, you want to touch the feet, you have to be qualified. You should be qualified. And so Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada's spiritual master, used to ask people, do you have the right to touch the feet of the saintly person? So if you're serious in spiritual life, then there's no harm. But if we're nonsense, then it's not good. We have to be very serious. That's important. Okay.
I have a question.
Just one more question. You said Vidura has Uddhava sent Vidura to Maitreya because he was senior. So do we should follow this etiquette? Like suppose we have planned something, a lecture, and some senior devotee comes, then we should give to him. Is it like that? Also the etiquette is followed in ISKCON?
Well, usually it's like that.
That,
Somebody senior, we should ask the senior person to give the class. Yeah.
because during Govardhan Puja, we have arranged Damodar to give the class. And then Chiranjeevi, he came, one more senior devotee. Then Damodar started the class. After that, he told, no, it's not proper that I give the class. Then he told me that, and then yeah. But it was planned like that. We already announced that Damodar is giving the class. So I didn't really tell Damodar that another devotee has come.
Yeah. Well, of course, when he comes, then you can just invite him also, that he can sit with Damodar. Damodar can speak, and then the other one can speak. They can both speak.
Yeah. We can invite him to sit, and he can also give the points, and he can also speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's usually what would happen in that kind of situation. Some other person comes unexpectedly, we'll invite him, they can also speak. He wants to say something. But somebody else was already prepared, then you should speak. And then other person, new person comes, and can also be asked to speak.
So we can also, I understand. We can put a chair near him, and then right.
I have another question. How long does it take for a soul who is somebody is dying and the soul is departing? How does it take? How long does it take to take another body?
Well, it depends. For somebody who is more in the mode of goodness, then it will be quite quick. But for people who are not so much in the mode of goodness, they have to go down to Yamaraj, and and there can be problems there.
Okay, it's like kind of judgment,
Yeah.
like a court.
Yeah.
He has he will have to respond to his sins like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But for a good person, then he can
Be quicker.
quickly.
But after death, the soul can hear. Means after, suppose the body is gone, is a devotee. The soul, maybe some devotees are chanting Hare Krishna. Maybe the soul, he has the he thinks where I'm going next, or not. Or how is the situation? Maybe he thinks of Krishna. Yeah, he can see the devotees chanting, and his body is already there. He don't have eyes, so he cannot see, or he can see, or I was
the
confused.
soul?
Yes, because sometimes I heard they say in the Purana that the soul sits on the tree, and he can see the body being burned, his body being burned, and like that. Yeah.
But the mind is accompanying the
Soul.
soul, right?
Yeah.
The subtle body.
Please. But the subtle body can also hear, like the devotees chanting.
Yes.
They can hear.
Yeah.
They can sense.
They can see.
They can see. They don't have eyes, but they can.
Well, the eyes don't see without the soul, you see. When the soul leaves the body, the eyes are still there, but you can't see anything. It's not just the eye.
Yeah.
It's the power to see.
Because it's in another dimension, right? It's another dimension. That's why they can see and hear.
And the soul will go to their spiritual master, right? And the spiritual master take him to Krishna if he has perfected his life.
Well, they go back to Godhead, then that's the principle. That's how it's supposed to be. That the spiritual master will be there, and he could receive you and introduce you to Krishna.
Yeah.
And what about the great souls, for example, Maharaj, these demigods who have such important task in the material world, between the material world and the spiritual world. Like when he came as Vidura, he was visiting the special places, he was taking instruction, and all that would remind in his mind, in his intelligence, when he will come back to the state as Maya Maharaj. He will be advanced. My question is, in fact, there is no end in advancement, right?
Yeah, there's no end. You can keep advancing more and more.
So you can keep desiring to advance as well more.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's a better Yamaraj now than he was before.
Well, Yamaraj is it's a position, it's a service,
I
right?
understand, yes.
So different people take that position as Yamaraj.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you do the job even better.
Okay.
Of course, he had a not a pleasant job because you don't meet very nice people, you meet all the sinful, all the bad people, So it's not a very pleasant job.
And Sukadev Goswami, he was also the son of Vyasadeva. Right?
Yes.
So they were half brothers.
Yes, Sukadeva Goswami. Yes, but Sukadeva Goswami is special.
So did they meet?
Huh?
Did they meet during
I never heard of them meeting.
So
Sukadeva Goswami only met Maharaj Parikshit at the end of his life, where Maharaj Parikshit was cursed.
Yes.
Sukadeva Goswami we never heard of Sukadeva meeting Vidura or anything, no.
It's strange that yesterday, that's why I didn't come, because I knew that, what's his name, Kripamoya Prabhu in England was given the class, and that was not registered. And it was not the same, it was the fourth chapter, it was also Vidura and Maitreya, and they were also speaking about, and the class he gave was on the importance of the relation, the importance to look for. This class was in the subject matter of the importance to reach, to search for a spiritual master. You don't understand me?
To reach what?
To meet a spiritual master.
To meet a spiritual master.
And everything is going around that, around this point.
Oh.
I can realize more and more that everything is walking around this point. or to meet if you didn't meet, or to listen to the instruction of the spiritual master.
To get the association, contact with the spiritual master.
Yes, or the teaching, or...
He was giving class at Bhaktivedanta Manor, or just giving class online?
No, to the Bhaktivedanta Manor, but you can hear the online classes nearly all over the world if you go on Mayapur.tv. And like this you can be to the Bhaktivedanta Manor or be to Zurich as well every day.
Yeah.
To the time you want, because it's going all day long, I think.
Yeah.
It's very nice, very enlivening.
Yes, it's Temple Zurich. It's written Temple Zurich, and you have to go to Mayapur.tv. Okay, Mayapur.tv
on internet, and there you have different places of the world, and you can choose which one you want to follow.
Mayapur TV.
Mayapur.tv. You write on the internet Mayapur.tv, and then you have, I think, 15 places.
You can pick which one you want to hear.
Yes. But of course you have, if you want to listen to the Srimad bhagavatam class, you have to realize that maybe in England it will be 1 hour later,
Yeah.
or in India it will be 6 hours later. You have to adjust your
Yeah,
research.
adjust the time.
Yes.
Hmm.
But Zurich is the same time than here, so it's nice too.
Yeah.
How many places there?
I didn't realize that.
Where? In which countries?
Oh, many
America,
different.
Many different countries.
About
Canada.
20 or more.
How many?
About 20 or more.
Oh, 20. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Many. You know, India
Yes.
and
America.
America. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. You can see the temple. You can see the activities.
Nice.
You can follow the party.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can see
Yes.
the
Yes.
murti
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
You can hear the classes.
Yeah.
You can see which devotee is there to listen.
Okay. So there is a temple and there is an ashram also, all together. Same time there is an ashram with devotees, with brahmachari. All
Yeah, the
together.
different temples have, each temple have their different
They're
ashrams.
different ashrams.
Some ashrams are big and some are small.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh.
So Bhaktivedanta, for example, you also have a place, some other little house around,
Yes.
very nearby, where there are some guests who are following some
Yes,
classes and
yes.
courses.
Yes, yes.
in
For
different
example,
topics.
if we go there, we can also participate, we can see, and even though we are not brahmachari, but we can just see and.
You never went?
I
Is that the
didn't
temple?
no, not decided.
But if you want to stay for a while, you
Yeah.
have to register.
Yes, of course, of course.
But
Like
otherwise,
everywhere.
as a guest, you can go
Okay.
whenever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on July 7th for the Ratha Yatra. For the Ratha Yatra.
Yes.
July 7th.
Here
Said
in Zurich?
yeah, July.
Huh?
In Zurich?
Zurich.
Said July.
July 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will go. I will go.
Yeah, we have to
Yes,
book
yes,
it,
I'd
yes.
like to see this temple. I've never seen this temple
Where?
in Zurich.
Oh, you never saw
No,
them?
no, I haven't been there.
You never know there is a temple in Zurich?
I don't know. No,
Okay.
I never been
You
there.
know, I received a letter from I think the Pujaris in Zurich. And they were saying that they have hard time to find
Today.
Yeah,
Really?
closer.